Perfect.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Thomas, dope as Yola, whatever you want to call me. I'm with my co-host, Marty O'Neill.
What's up, guys?
What's up? This is the Dope as Usual podcast. We're here to talk about life, drugs, problems, accomplishments, and everything in between. Today, we have a very special episode. Humanitarian, actor, musician, and avid art collector. This is Cheech Marin.
Hey, how you are?
Thanks for being.
I'm good. I'm awake, I think.
I'm awake. No, thank you for being here. I know it was a long trip, so appreciate it.
Yeah, I had to have a passport and shots and everything to get here, man.
I just got a passport tomorrow. Thanks. No, thank you for coming. I just want to get right into this real quick. Okay. I met you one time, like 8 years ago, before I ever started doing type of stuff.
Was you in the restaurant?
No. But I rolled a gigantic joint like this, and I was like, I hope he wants to smoke it. Yeah. And I walked up, and I'm like, hey, check out this joint, man. I rolled it. I'm going to smoke it. And you're like, I love it. It's going to be great tonight. And you put it in your pocket and walked out. I was like, I don't think he heard me.
No, he heard you perfectly.
Literally, wow. You know what? At least I got it to him. You know?
What a G.
Thank you. It'll be great tonight.
You'd have to approach with care.
But no, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
And I know we were talking about before we started, we got right into it. Your Cheech's Stash. Cheech's Stash. I know. Is it in all stores in California?
A lot of them, and not in California, but in
legal states,
7 other states.
Oh,
yeah.
So everything that's legal, basically, you're in that market.
Yeah, well, as many as we can get into, but we're all over the country right now, and as soon as it gets legal federally, we'll be in every damn state.
And the automatic name brand recognition right off the bat.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, they're creeping towards it. They're inching towards it. Now
next year.
It is just, I heard just yesterday, there's a lot of propositions to make weed legal federally. And that's the big border crossing there, if you will. As soon as they make it federal legally, then you can be like any other business. Like you'd be like Cheerios. You can be manufactured in General Mills and sold in Arizona. You can't do that with weed right now.
Yeah. And your Michelada's coming out.
Michelada. It's a Michelada with weed. No, but with a non-alcoholic beer. So it tastes just like a michelada, but it has as a 6 to 8, a lot of weed in it. I don't even know.
The slogan was it's like a michelada with some Cheech in it.
With some Cheech in it, that's what it. And it's great. It's a great tasting drink. I don't know if everybody's familiar with micheladas, but it's like, it's a Mexican hair of the dog that bit you. In the morning you're kind of little ragged, and have a michelada, everything's nice.
Why is that? Why is this made me sick? I need a little bit more to make me better.
It is. I mean, I've drank it since I was able to drink, in the olden days. But it really works really well. And this is a particularly good drink, And
that drops next month.
Yeah. We have an opening on Friday from 2 to 5 at the Woods on Santa Monica Boulevard and Hollywood.
Nice.
And come Woody Harrelson, my buddy's place, and come on down and celebrate with us because it's going to be really good.
Nice. While you're on the topic of you're talking about legalization and federal legalization, I don't know how I never noticed it. In Nice Dreams, you're wearing a normal shirt.
Yeah.
How many times I've seen that? Never noticed that you're wearing a normal shirt.
It was in English, that's why.
I just never noticed. It's still around today.
Yeah.
40 years ago.
Yeah. It was the first T-shirt I picked up in the morning. We shot that scene in a house like 2 houses away from where I was living. And I said, hey, you got to go to work. Oh, I got to walk to work? Okay. And so I walked up the beach, went to work, and I just grabbed the first T-shirt I found in my thing, put it on. And I didn't even know what it said. It was blue. I said, okay, I think I'll wear a blue shirt. And then, normal. Oh, well, that works.
They're an organization trying to stop the federal crimes of possession and basically what we're trying to do now. Normal started in the 70s.
Could you have pictured back then, like 30, 40 years from now, we'll still be kind of fighting this, being some of the first people to start that fight?
Yeah, I thought it would be much quicker than it has been, I mean, it's like being kind of pregnant. right now.
Yeah.
It's
Can't do much.
Right?
I ain't pregnant. Okay, mama, I'm kind of pregnant. And there's a kind of baby coming. So you just look at and the weirdest states have the most stringent laws. Texas, there's no place normal. In Texas, you can smoke weed. And they're the biggest dopers in the world that I know are from Texas.
100%.
100%.
Willie Nelson.
Since the very beginning.
Yeah.
Since the very beginning.
It's just you can't have joints, you can have rifles
Yeah.
at the store. It's crazy. I've been to Texas once and I was like,
And your Easy Rider rifle rack here, right here in the truck.
Exactly, the rifle rack, but you can't have any type of bowl with you.
But they do have weed. I mean, weed cuts through every single segment of a society, whether you're conservative or liberal or whatever you are. Everybody smokes weed.
Yeah.
Man.
That's what I noticed when I got older. At first, I thought, I was like, no, it's just got to be the skater kids. And then I found out, like, my cousins smoke weed, the doctor or the accountant.
Are you shocked by the people that come up to you that like, wow, I wouldn't have pegged you for a fucking weed smoker, but it's got to be.
All of them peg me for a weed smoker.
No, the other way around. Have you ever seen like, wow, this father of 9 glasses on?
Well, my dad was a policeman.
It's for 30 years, I saw.
At LAPD, 30 years. A lot of my family were law enforcement, so I was...
The most paranoid family reunion you've ever had in your life.
It was like, I used to have it. I couldn't understand, so I just kind of was on the QT, and then away we went. When I got off the leash, I went to college. That was the first time I was off the leash, man. And the first time I smoked a joint, it was handed to me at a party, and I took a hit, and I go, and what else have you been lying about? Man?
Oh, wow.
That's how I felt.
That's your first time smoking weed?
Yeah, the first time. And what else they've been lying about, man? This is not exactly what they've been telling me. Like, everything was fun. The music sounded good. Everybody was having a good time. And, I better investigate this further.
For the next 70 years, I think I should do some experiments.
It is. I mean, it is. And everywhere you go, that's no place that I've been in the last 50 years has not had weed.
Really?
No place.
Well, speaking of a 50-year, Marty, can you pop that up real quick? We saw a post on your social media. Is it 50 years ago today?
Yeah.
Wow.
What was that?
Oh, my God. Look at that.
Look at that. Tampa, Florida.
50 years ago today. What was the story behind this picture?
The story was a scam. It was not from us. Here's what the deal is. We played this thing at a concert at Curtis Hickson Hall in Tampa, Florida. A very famous hall that they'd arrested everybody there. Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Cheech and Chong. What the deal was that the guys who ran the hall, there was a ordinance of the hall that if you broke any of the precepts of the hall, or did anything bad, or blah blah blah, and there was a police report, they complained to the promoter. No, the hall owners could withhold $5,000 from the promoter, and that's what they did. And so
scammers.
It was a scam, and so Cheech and Chong, we did 2 shows that night in the same hall with Dr. John and the Night Tripper. He opened up for us, and so they said, "Oh, both sold out shows. Okay, we're going to run this scam," and then so they had the police make a complaint. About these guys are walking around like dogs and blah blah blah. They pissed on my head. Because the stage was really high and the cops were standing right in front of the stage looking out at the audience. And so I was doing the dogs. I ran over the audience, lifted my leg, and peed on top of the cop's head. I think that was kind of like the deal. But they were so we got taken to jail. Then we got released eventually, and there was no charges filed, but we got a cool mugshot. You ever seen the Tommy's half of the version? He's like, it looks like
Charles
Rasputin.
Manson.
He's totally in the shadows, man.
He looks wild. So they basically said, "Oh, we're gonna scam you. You guys did great." And why wouldn't they? The cops like, "Give me $1,000, I'll kick it down."
I
get it.
It was the same hall. Curtis Hickson Hall in Tampa, Florida.
Now they're judging people, Janis Joplin and Jim Morris.
Jim Morris.
They're just picking out anybody that has weed in their green room. We're gonna arrest.
That's it. You know.
Yeah.
And no, the funny thing was like, so we get off stage after the last show, and our road manager Jimmy Root, and he's running around the dressing room, putting stuff away or doing this. I said, well, Jimmy, what you doing? Your guys are going to get arrested as soon as as the show ended. The cops come. What for? What? He explained it to me. I said, well, that's what. I said, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm hiding all the weed. Well, we ain't got any weed. We just got here, you know. So he got all shook up, and then they took us away. We went, but the cops argued about who was going to take us because they both had the records. All the cops had all the records. You know, I'll get to take it, man. I want to hear some of the bits, and they started doing bits for us, man. And then they put us in the paddy wagon, and away we went. You know, and then they made the rest of their drunk routes. You know,
they go pick up other people.
Pick up other people, throw them in there. People that had crapped their drawers, man, or thrown up. They're like, oh, jeez, what
Could you imagine?
I just had 2 sold-out shows, man.
Could you imagine? Like, I'm drunk as shit, I'm getting arrested. Cheech and Chong? What is going on in here?
And then they put us in the thing, man. Like, it was a long night. We finally got out.
Well, have you ever played there again?
Yeah. Actually, we came back like in about less than a year later, and we sold out 3 shows.
Did they pull the scam on you?
No. We played a different hall.
Oh, okay, I got you.
No. And you guys, you don't get no more of our money.
No way.
Yeah.
How filthy.
I mean, you know, there was stuff that happened all the time, you know, but then the cops were our buds, you know. I mean, they were our biggest fans. Really?
I know. I mean, like you said, all walks of life. You wouldn't expect. It's a cop arresting me. He's my fan.
Yeah, no, that absolutely happened all the time. You know, I can't tell you the amount of times I've had interactions with the police department and they let me go.
Oh, really? Just based on I can't do this to this man?
Yeah, exactly. They said, hey, you know, I hear your dad was a cop. Okay, here you go. Hey, can we take a picture? Selfie? Here we go. Uh-huh. I almost hit a cop one time. I was in Malibu, was driving back, and I didn't see him. I wanted to change lanes. It was a motorcycle guy, and I didn't see I was coming back from playing golf, and I was all tired and everything. And I almost hit him, and the lights go on. And the guy comes up, and he comes up to the window, gets off his bike, and comes. Oh, hey, it's you. Hey, can we take a selfie?
Yo, wouldn't you just pull people over in traffic? Like, I love that guy. Pull over.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, so okay. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that, but you know.
So being who you are, I mean, obviously you're growing up. You smoked in college, but your dad's LAPD.
Yeah.
How was that growing up? After your records are now charting, and you're walking in with your dad. Hey, that's your kid?
Yeah, that's
little Richard.
That was the biggest time of his life.
Really?
Because he could get free records from me. So, and then hand them out to all the juvenile delinquents, man. And that was his, hey, you ever heard of Cheech and Chong? Yeah. Well, he's my son. Here, want a record? Hey,
That's
tell
awesome.
me, what's going on over here, man? Who was like, it's exactly how it worked, man.
Bribing the neighborhood hoodlums.
Exactly, man. They come over here and this. Oh, they were glad to get the record, so they were like.
Of course. I couldn't imagine. I would not believe that cop one bit. Like, your kid's
Yeah,
Cheech.
exactly. But he would show. I mean, hey, that's me, and that's seen the last name, same. Oh, okay.
All right, so that's
So was he supported from the start, or did it take a while for him to kind of warm up to the idea?
No. As soon as anything free, man, are you kidding?
Gotcha.
It's free. And it was always as soon as I came over to visit. Hey, where's some free records? Well,
He's hitting you up for merch.
Yeah, all the time.
Dad hitting you for
we
merch.
didn't have merch in those days. We just get free records, you know. Like, but once we got merch, and then the whole family got in.
Yeah. Now it's a business.
I was saying last 2 episodes ago, I think a Cheech and Chong shirt might be the most famous weed shirt in the culture. If you think about it, it's the most worn shirt of any single cartoon, any design, of that.
You know what? It's really weird when you see a Cheech and Chong shirt, especially the cartoons ones, and when those guys from cops or jail show
Wearing
up
it?
and they're wearing Cheech and Chong shirts. And it's always the most lelo of all the guys.
Always making us right on cue, right on brand.
Oh man, heck, okay.
I have a question. I was thinking about it, and I think there's probably 7 ways to ask it, but I want to ask like probably the most vast. I mean, not vast. The easiest way, I should say. How did you meet Robert Rodriguez and get into this universe that you've been in for 20 years? Because you have, I've still told him, it's like Adam Sandler, you know that man is going to be, his friend's going to be in that movie. Like, where's Cheech? Where's Cheech? Oh, Glass Eye, got you.
I'm still working with Robert. I heard about him. We were already Cheech and Chong and Rich and Famous. I don't know, maybe more famous than Rich. But anyways, and we heard this kid from Texas had this movie, and he made for $7,000, and it was the height of the independent film circle, and he was getting a lot of at festivals and getting one. And he was going to come to LA and make his first movie. And so I said, okay, well, that just sounds like good. I want to see this movie. So finally I met him at some event of the Directors Guild or something. And he says, I've grown up on your records and your movies. And, me and my whole family had like 10 brothers and sisters. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think there was 10 kids, 5 girls and 5 boys in his, and we always listened to them and blah, 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 and watch the movies. Cool. Says, I want you to be in my movie. I'm going to make a movie. Sounds good, kid. As soon as you get some money, give me a call. Yeah. So he gave me a call. I got the money from the studio. Blah blah blah. Let's go. Cool. Let's go. And then there was 8 movies in a row after that. So now Robert and I are teaming up together he's going to institute a program at the Cheech, which is my private museum.
The Chicano Art Museum,
Chicano
right?
Art in Riverside, California, and he's going to institute a film program there at the Cheech and teach that $7,000 to make a movie.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so we're gonna keep on that practice. So Robert and I have been buddies forever.
The first one. What was the first movie he made? Desperado?
Desperado. No, he made Mariachi.
Mariachi for 4. See, it's almost like a prequel, but it's not because Danny Trejo's alive in the second one because he got stabbed up in the first one.
Yeah.
So okay, see, that's one of the questions I had. Like, did they just say, "Hey, he's a good actor, just make him alive again"?
Yeah, he can do that. He's Robert Rodriguez.
So that was the first one, El Mariachi, right?
El Mariachi, yeah, and that was he made that when he was a student at the University of Texas. And with a borrowed camera and everything he could get for free, he made it. And so what he teaches in this program is how to do every single job in the movie making process. It's not just director, you're the writer or the whatever. You're the gaffer, you're the caterer, you're the guy that handles the trucks. You got to know how to do every job. That's how you can make it for $7,000. So.
7,000 to make that movie with Antonio Banderas in it. Was Selma Hayek in that first one too?
Yeah. No, she wasn't.
She was in Desperado.
Either was Antonio.
I thought he was. No, it was the 3 that he teamed up with in Desperado.
Those guys.
Remember the machine gun with the thing I was telling you?
Carlos something or other. And but he was and then that was the first introduction. No, it was the second introduction I ever saw to Danny Trejo. He was in Runaway Train first.
In the 80s.
Yeah. It was with Eric Roberts and John Voight and Konchalovsky, Russian director, because he just got out of prison, and he was in a theater acting group in prison. I think it was George Abbott or something. Abbott had started this group, and he was part of it, and so he was looking for a job as an actor when he got. I mean, he didn't know anything. I mean, zip. He knew armed robbery, but he didn't know anything about how to the movie making process. And so he got it. They were looking for somebody on this movie that could teach I think Eric Roberts how to box. And Danny Trejo was a middleweight champion of the prison when he was in one of the prisons, And so I could do that, But he was like straight out of prison. Had nobody, nowhere to go, man, nothing, zip. And he got a job, and he slept in the box car. They were,
wow.
And he, and he went up at the end of the first day. Okay, where's my money? You know, well, no, they pay it to at the end of the week or the month. A month, I gotta, you know. And so, but that's how we started. And then I think our pictures, it was the second thing he did, and he did every single one of them.
Wow, that's crazy how it keeps going.
It's a great story.
You said you're working on more too, besides the school. Any other films with Robert Rodriguez or?
Not that he's called me about.
Got you.
I need some other guys to do 8 in a row here.
I remember it was Grindhouse. I remember when that came out, the double feature. I haven't seen that in a long time in the theater. I went and watched them both. They had the break. We went outside, smoked a joint, came back in.
Isn't that cool?
It was very cool.
Well, that was started because we did this trailer for the non-existent film. We were shooting something else. I was in Texas at Austin where he has his studio. And he says, "Hey, come out to the parking lot and we'll shoot this thing. It's for a fake movie. The movie doesn't exist, but we're shooting an ad for it, you know, like a trailer. And you come out with a shotgun and blah 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 blah, and you're a priest. Okay, that sounds good. I can do that. And priest with a shotgun. Hey, right up my alley. Okay, so he comes down and we shoot this little thing in the parking lot. And that was it. There was no movie. There was nothing attached to it. I don't know what." And so they put it out on the internet, and it got so much attention because everybody said, "Well, where's the movie? We want to see this movie." And there was so much rattle going on about it that the studio, "All right, well, let's make this movie." That's how it started, right? You know?
You wouldn't think that just a spoof. Yeah, let's tease them. Mm-hmm. Oh, you wanted that bad?
Yeah, it was from Grindhouse. We put the ad in Grindhouse, and the movie didn't exist.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's ever happened before. Like
I haven't heard
like a pre-sale. It is like a pre-sale.
It is, man. You know, but we sold a lot after.
I mean, I've watched that movie countless times, so I understand that. Nice.
Going into it knowing they want it is way better.
Even if you go in knowing they want it, they gotta have it. They still take their damn time on it. like I don't know. It's like
still painfully slow.
It's called shell out falter. When they got to shell out, they falter.
I thought it was an awesome term I've never heard.
Shell out falter, man.
Do you? I mean, I know it's kind of early. Do you want to smoke it?
Well, if you put it like that,
he's got a little light.
I got some joints. I'll bust that one out. I'll bust that one out later.
As long as I don't have to drive, you know.
No, we got the.
We still got our driver here.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Give me.
Thank you, sir.
Here you go.
And
then Marty, I think there should be a lighter right next to you.
There is. As a matter of fact.
All right.
My God.
Like this up. This message is brought to you by MyBookie. This entire season, all season long for NFL and college football, they're bringing you a brand new cash out system with multiple options to bet and win. So if you're going to be betting online this season, go to mybookie.ag and use our promo code DOPEASUSUAL. You can register for a free account, and once you do, use our code DOPEASUSUAL at checkout, and you're going to get one free chip for the MyBookie casino. And from me to you, it's a free chip. If you're going to win, let it ride. It was free. I don't know if that's great advice, but I've been betting lately, okay? So make the free account. Once you use your first deposit, use our promo code, and you're going to get that free chip to use in MyBookie Casino. Remember, you can bet anything, anytime, anywhere using MyBookie. Super contest, free bets, odds boost all season long with MyBookie. Remember, use code DOPEASUSUAL and get that free chip for the casino. So make the free account. Once you use your first deposit, use our promo code and you're going to get that free chip to use in MyBookie Casino. Remember, you can bet anything, anytime, anywhere using MyBookie.ag. Super contest, free bets, odds boost all season long with MyBookie. Remember, use code DOPEASUSUAL and get that free chip for the casino. What's up, guys? Taking a moment to talk about one of our sponsors, and that is Mint Mobile. You guys already know Mint Mobile is offering the lowest phone plans that you could possibly find. Unlimited talk and text, high-speed data delivered on the largest 5G network. Everything I just said is included in the Mint Mobile plans, starting off at just $15 a month. Gas, groceries, the movies, everything is inflating. Money is going up. Everything's expensive. And Mint Mobile is going the opposite direction. They are making it cheaper to the customer, and that is a win for all of us. So right now, go to mintmobile.com/YOLA to activate the $15 a month plan. Remember, unlimited talk, text, high-speed data on the largest 5G network in America. You can sign up for Mint Mobile directly from your home anywhere. You just don't even have to go to the store. You can do it completely online, and that's how they have passed the savings on to you. No more upsell here at the store. All the savings go directly to you. No waiting, no lines, and you can go from any phone service. It's not like you have to have something compatible. Anything will work. They will switch you right over and start saving today. Nice.
Now, see, this is an example of hair of the dog that bit you.
Oh, you're too high last night? I'm tired today. I think I'm awake.
Yeah.
That's me when I get edibles. That's what I meant by the syrup.
Yeah, it's like, some people sleep really well with weed. I'm one of those guys. I sleep, and some people don't. I'm glad I'm one of those guys that do, because I like my sleep.
And I also like being awake and going to the movies and going to the restaurants.
That's it, man. Wow.
Besides, I couldn't tell you how many times I've seen you pop up. Oh, Cheech! In movies. What with the voice acting? How did you get into the line? If you're a fan, like, oh, it's his voice. I can hear it right here. So was it Cars, Lion King, Fantasy? Was it Fantasy? There was like Treasure Island. There was like 6 other cartoons that you
Oliver and Company.
Oliver and Company. There you go.
Do you know what it was? That was our training, because the albums were
all voices.
with all voices.
Oh wow! I never
Why did I
thought
even
about
think
that.
about that?
All voices, man. It was
Because you're so animated, you do improv, you're on stage, you're doing skits, you're involving the audience, and that was one of my questions. How do you express your voice?
It's that inflection.
You already have
from
it.
yeah. And we had 6 albums worth of that,
And a Grammy winner.
and a Grammy winner. We were nominated for a Grammy with every single album we did.
Oh, really? You just snagged one. Which one was it for?
I think it was for wedding album. I think it was the wedding album. But we were like, I never thought. The first year I didn't think we were gonna, because we were brand new, But we got nominated, and then every one after that. So after that, I thought, well, the Big Bamboo certainly is going to get a Grammy, and then kept going, and finally we snagged one, and then I didn't care after that.
Well, I don't need 2. When you get to a point where like the Grammy, I don't need another one. That's when you know your albums are doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they're doing the
You know
thing.
which award we did win every year was the National Association of Record Merchandisers Award,
Ooh, that's a
which
good
meant
one to
that
win.
you sold the most albums that year.
Of the year, including music or comedy.
Comedy for comedy, but we had 3 number 1 albums in a row.
Crazy.
3
Charted number 1.
Yeah, number 1.
Oh, I didn't realize
what
that.
Our competition was Led
Zeppelin.
Zeppelin
Yeah,
and the
Led
Rolling
Zeppelin.
Stones, man. That was
Pink Floyd.
and the rest of the guys in the record industry are our promoters' buddies, and they all were pissed off at it. Man, you're taking room up on the charts, man, where music could be. I go say, well, screw you.
Come on. Wow, I didn't realize you were competing with Led Zeppelin in sales of records.
Yeah. See, because we occurred right in the start of the baby boomers buying albums. Before that, rock and roll was singles. You had singles. Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, and all the singles. And then all of a sudden, the whole album concept started. There was albums before, but the concept of having like a concept album started happening. And then record sales went from like, to get a gold record, you had to sell 450,000 units of something. It wasn't 1 million. It was like $1 million or so, however they calculated it. But you had to sell that one in order to have a gold record. So it was,
Big deal.
But when we signed up with Lou Adler, who was our first producer, or was our only producer really, and he was just about to release Tapestry by Carole King. From to have a gold record to sell 450,000 albums, it's a big deal. She sold 15 million.
15 million?
15 million.
In the 70s?
Yeah, in the early 70s.
Oh my God.
It was like she was in another race.
Yeah, another world.
And then it started happening. So we were right along with, okay, now you can sell a lot of, and then we were the rock and roll comedians,
100%.
And I'm still pissed off that we're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which we should be in.
Ooh, I never thought about that. If you're outside and you're selling these records and you're doing these things.
Rock acts were covering our shit. Earache my eye, da-da-da-da-da-da.
And the end of Up in Smoke, you go to the Battle of the Bands.
Yeah, and we had had number 1 hits. Basketball Jones was a number 1 single. Yeah, Earache my eye, number 1 single.
I get. Oh, you'd be a little upset now.
Well,
Like I belong there.
And everybody quotes us, and we do this. We have what was that band from Seattle?
Nevada?
No, it was right in that area. Not Coldplay, but
REM.
Something from they're flying Seattle.
Foo Fighters?
No, Chris Connolly.
It's not Audio Slave. That's the second part.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
the first one that sings Black Hole Sun? Come on. I know what you're talking about.
Stump for a comeback here.
I know exactly. Chris Connolly, yeah.
And they covered my Corn.
They covered your music.
Yeah.
So they're getting hits off of your hits. Soundgarden. There you go.
Soundgarden, right? And Stanley Turrentine covered Black Lassie, which was another hit.
I never even thought about these things in terms of music because it's always so funny.
Yeah.
You don't think like, no, that's a hit.
And when other rock and rollers are covering your shit, man,
Yeah.
that's the proof. You know?
I didn't even think of that.
I mean, there wasn't one guitarist, budding guitarist, or any guitarist at that time that didn't know that riff. Dun, 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 and they'd all play it for us. So whenever we said, "Hey, watch this," you know?
My cousin Ralph, he's in the record industry, and he asked me to ask you,
Yeah.
did you get any records at the Battle of the Bands? Because those were all real punk bands.
Oh yeah.
Did you, because you're into music, do you have any of that stuff?
And it's nah. They were all the bands were hanging out in the Sunset Strip, right at that time.
You guys want to be in a movie?
Circle Jerks and those guys. Yeah.
So that's how that went down.
Yeah, that's how it went down. Because the Roxy was the center of that. They were.
Oh, the Roxy. Yes,
That's
yes,
where we
exactly.
filmed it. Yeah, and our producer Lou Adler owned the Roxy.
That was at the Roxy, just from the left, and that means the rainbow's to my left. How did I not realize that?
I don't know.
I smoked so much weed in that
I
place.
think that is physically impossible not to remember that, but you're the proof.
So you get into the voice acting. Sorry to circle back.
Voice acting,
to circle back. The Lion King. How do you get approached, or do you approach somebody that I want to be a voice in the voice acting?
The first one I went, it was before the Lion King, was Oliver and Company. And Tommy and I had just split up, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? And this call came in, they were going to do this Oliver and Company, which was like Oliver Twist, but it was animated, and would I come in to read for one of the things, So, okay, cool. And I'd never done kind of that voice acting for movies before. I just albums, which was really good training as we come to find out. And so I went in there, and all the guys were in there, and they gave me the stuff they wanted to say, and I did it, and it was just I was new. It was for I was unsure of myself, and they goes, okay, well that's good. Thank you very much for coming in, and I went out into the parking lot, and I go, that fucking sucked, man. I'm going to go back in there. So I went back in there, and I said, I think that what I did, it sucked. I want to do it again. And so they, okay, well, cool. And George Scribner, who was the director, interesting guy, grew up in Panama, but spoke Spanish, So, but I think his folks were in the military. And I said, do you have any direction for me or something? And he says, play it like you got your finger stuck in the light socket, man. And I go, got it. I went back in there and full blast every single fucking letter in there. And at the end of it, man, you can see all the animators are starting to watch and draw me. It's like that, the thing, and okay, cool. All right, the next session's going to be blah 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 blah, and so the next year and a half, I was on that movie.
Wow.
And I'd come out every one of those sessions raw. I mean, don't talk like that. Because you're just like full force. And it was a big hit. And it was the first in the regime of Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was the director, or the head of Disney at the time. It was the first in the new series of animated films that were coming out. The next one was The Lion King. And Jeffrey told me on that we were skiing together in Deer Valley. We both had places there. We were riding up the lift, and because he worked up in Smoke for Paramount, so we knew each other real well. And he says, I got this animated film coming out, and you're going to be in it, and blah blah blah. Okay, when we do that? Well, 3 years from now. Oh, shit. 3 years from now? What are you telling me now, man? You get me all excited and shit. And so he said, but 3 years later, man called me up, and Lion King and changed animated history.
Yes.
That was like, wow. And then one after the other, the Lion King, Cars,
Did they expect Lion King to be so legendary and huge when they were making it?
I think maybe they did. Because, I started on the film and it was like, oh, okay, this is, animals, a jungle, and okay, good. And then they start showing me halfway into like the drawings. I go, oh, this is.
Oh, you don't see it first.
No, you do the voice first.
Oh, I thought maybe you would be watching the guy move the line or the hyena move,
doing
like
a voiceover.
It's exactly the opposite.
Oh, this whole time, all the BTS they show in documentaries, they're looking at it.
Yeah. No, you do the voice first, and they animate to your voice.
That makes sense.
At the beginning, there's a lot of artists, and they're drawing you, the way you make your facial expressions and stuff like that. And then they put together a sequence, and they show it to you, and they go, okay, can you give me this? And so you do that for them, and they draw that. And so then you see, quite a ways into the process, you see a sequence that they put together, and it's not fully animated, but almost. And when they showed me that, I go, oh, this is a whole different deal, man. They're doing rack focus shots in this movie.
On a cartoon.
And I said, oh, okay, we're into something else here. Mm-hmm. And then you hear the music.
Yeah, that's true.
The music,
score on that.
That was an interesting time because it was right on the brink of like technology, really, with computers and stuff. Was it on the digital side or was it not?
Yeah, it was because they came out in CDs, not 8-track tapes or not a 4-track or now the CD, the compact disc was in. Not only affected the record industry, but the movie industry at the same time. The soundtrack for Lion King sold 15 million copies on the first pass.
Come on,
on the first pass. and that is when they brought me in to do the was it the Lion King? They were doing. I think they were doing Beauty and the Beast or something, where the scene where Belle walks through the town. And everybody comes out of their cottages and you meet all the characters, man. And it took me and it showed me that sequence in 8 different languages, the same sequence. And the sequence, all of a sudden, the language would change from English to Spanish. And it sounded like the same person singing. And then French, and then Dutch, and then Afrikaans, or what, okay. Okay, I'll do this, so why not, And everything was booming at that point, right? It's like, because they could do things digitally. That's when the blue screen started to have
so it
whole
was
deal.
all like that.
Yeah, so it's, and that's why records were routinely selling 5 million, 10 million copies.
You wouldn't think the soundtrack to kids want to listen to it.
Oh
man, look at the YouTube songs, probably billions of views on it. So I understand, translate into 15 million sales.
Easy. Quick.
Easy. I mean, that was the first round, okay? The movie's been out a month. 15 million. But we were getting used to that at the same time because Carole King had sold 15 million tapestries. It was like, I don't know, it was like winning by 99 yards in the 100-yard dash.
Not even close. Yeah. Do kids ever recognize you just off your voice? I know their parents go, "Oh my God, it's Cheech." They go, "No, I know that voice."
It's funny how that works. Little kids, little kids, they don't have no idea how I am, and their parents tell them blah blah blah. I remember a good friend of mine had twin girls. And they were that age, and I said, "Oh yeah, your friend, he's a movie." And I says, "Have you ever seen any animated films?" "Yeah." Which one have you seen? Have you seen The Lion King? "Yeah." Well, we'll just eat what's ever lying around. And they look up at me like, I don't know, Johnny Depp just landed. And they would follow me around after that, man. Like, do that, do it again.
Oh, my God.
I wish I could do that.
Oh, come on. Hey, Luke, you want to light up for the rest of your week? Just say something to him.
It's amazing, it's nice to experience that because it is just like you have to realize that for what it is, like this, as you have soaked into the culture on many generations and
different levels too. The counterculture, the mainstream culture, kids, adults, everybody.
The
around
most
the
of countercultures, and that's something else I wanted to say. Even now, like we make videos. Like on my other side, we have the biggest weed channel on YouTube, right? That's what I do. Like the biggest, craziest stuff. We roll Cheech and Chong style joints with our monsters, and we have so much pushback. The pushback you must have gotten while you're making your films, and then Up and Smoke does $100 million in the box office in the 70s. Now that's a smash hit. In 10 years, that's still a smash hit. But in the 70s, on a movie that most people have to sneak out to go watch.
It was interesting time in movie making for studio wise, right? That we made Up and Smoke at the same time that Heaven's Gate was being made.
Heaven's Gate. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that.
That proves my point. Heaven's Gate was a big epic coming to the West cowboy movie kind of. Michael Cimino was the director. He had just made Deer Hunter.
Oh, okay.
The last one. It was his first movie, and he won the Academy Award for his best director and everything, blah, blah, blah. And it was supposed to be the big deal, Heaven's Gate. A lot of money, and it was our little tiny movie, man, Up and Smoke, $800,000. And Heaven's Gate, Lapo, and Up and Smoke, a lot of money. So it was a big change in the movie industry at that point. Now they started listening. Oh, you got some crazy idea? Sounds good to us,
So with the pushback, even with the film industry, did that affect you? Let's go to the premiere. Do you really want these guys at our premiere?
No. As soon as it starts making money,
okay, you're right.
You're beautiful. Where you been all my life?
That's a good point.
That is a good point, actually.
The thing is what was different about the movies, it was around the world simultaneously in every language. It's either dubbed or subtitled, but at the same time. Because around the world, you could listen to the records, but they were all in English. So how are you going to speak French and German and Italian and Japanese? But when that started happening, then you really got recognized. From wherever you went, driving down the freeway and people pointing at you. And we had been living in France for a couple of years, Tommy and I both, and they what's this guy, all right, let's pull over and talk about it, man. And they've been doing that, and I finally wrote, they've seen the movie.
Let's pull over and talk about it.
Yeah. My dad used to do that.
Pull over and talk about it, guy?
Oh, he would. He was a policeman, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did he pull out?
Literally pulling you over to talk about it?
Yeah, no, in your civilian car with your kids in the car and you're the wife, and like some guy would start giving us something. Why don't we pull over and talk about it?
I'm gonna drive off.
That's a chilling little thought.
Now, anybody that's calm and asks you that, I'm just gonna keep going. And I apologize.
Exactly. Right.
How'd you guys end up living in France?
We made a movie there.
Okay.
Corsican Brothers. And we did
old school one, yeah.
And then we did a lot of pre-production on it. And that's about 6 months. I shot the movie, and that's another 3 or 4.
Oh, I gotcha.
And then we just we're digging it,
Yeah,
yeah.
How's France? How is that?
It was wonderful.
What did you like? What was the difference of being can't walk down the street here? Can you walk down the street there and not get bombarded?
Yeah, I was just there actually this summer. It was great in those days, because we were like making a movie in another country and then didn't speak English that much. It was great. Yeah, we had a good time. And our kids were doing something there. Let's see, Robbie and Ray Don, Tommy's kids. Robbie was a big ramp model for all the big designers in Paris.
Really?
Yeah, he was Karl Lagerfeld's muse, and Ray Don was Ray Don Chong. She was a big movie star making movies there, and they were friends with like a lot of people that were living there. And we had this great apartment through other friends that Mick Jagger and Jerry Hall moved out, and me and my wife moved in, and it was like Come on.
couldn't feel any cooler right now.
You could hit the Arc de Triomphe with a rock from my balcony, man. It was like, it was right there. And it was like, so, hey, let's enjoy this life for a little while, because
Different than East LA.
it's different than anywhere.
A little different.
But it was, and then Tommy lived there for 4 years.
Oh, just
Yeah,
to stay?
He bought a place, and the kids grew up in French schools, and
Wow.
Yeah.
What's their stance on weed there?
Haven't found out. I guess it's okay. We smoke weed.
It wasn't a problem. It wasn't like scary to be there with the weed and shit.
They didn't even know what weed is.
It wasn't a big
They
deal.
had hash.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have no weed.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
In all your travels, I'm wondering, in all your time, your career smoking weed around the world, has there been a strain or a particular time that stands out if you had to think about it?
My sister and her husband, they used to grow weed, Afghani weed. And it's a little short dwarf, almost a dwarf plant, and it's like about that high and really dark green and real broad leaves. And that was beyond weed, man.
So your sister grows weed?
Well, she did.
She
most
did?
days, yeah.
So I got to ask, how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 4 sisters.
No brothers?
No brothers.
You're the only boy?
I was the only boy in the family for my whole generation. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That was named Marin. It was other boys, Robles, but I was only Marin.
Wow. All right. So growing up, I was just trying to think of what is the other thing? Like, oh, we want to go to the movies? That's my brother.
Oh, yeah.
That's my brother putting this movie out. Because you don't really think, you always think your favorite actor, what is their family? How is this affect? Like, my dad's a cop, he gives away free rec. See, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he loved the records. You give them to the hoodlums, go, give me some information.
That's amazing.
That's incredible.
But the other anomaly in my family is we were all clergy.
Really?
Yeah, I was on my way to the junior seminary. My clothes were there. I passed the things, got certified. I was going to graduate from 8th grade going to 9th grade, but at a junior seminary. And
What?
yeah, but my other 2 cousins, they had gone to the seminary, and a Franciscan seminary in Santa Barbara. They had gone. Regine was student body president, and then instead of going to the real seminary, when you really start to be a priest, he went to Harvard instead, and he became the first recipient of a doctorate in Chicano studies from Harvard University.
Oh my God! And your family?
Yeah, he was my cousin.
That's
Reggie.
amazing.
Yeah. And the other cousin was this genius, got a scholarship to grade school. Really? And then every school after that, right? And I was this little puppy dog trying to catch up with him, so it was,
Wow.
It was an interesting
Your family? I'll see your
And then
family. That's very cool.
a girl, Rosalie, was a nun for 30 years.
Your family, that's really, you
Yeah.
almost became we would have never had any of this.
None of this, man.
What an iconic image of his police dad handing
the
a kid the vinyl, him in the back with the priest outfit on. Like, come on.
30 years later, like, come out with a shotgun. All right, you're gonna come out with a shotgun, all right?
I made it to the priesthood. No, I was on my way, and then I started going to parties in the 8th grade graduation that summer. Like I said, wait a minute, there's no girls in this priesthood.
Oh.
Maybe I got to rethink this.
Oh, for the rest of my life.
Yeah, for none girls,
Not just nuns.
not just
none.
not even on the weekends. No, okay, nah. And so then.
So shout out to the Hormones for saving the weed movie industry and culture. What's up, guys? I'm super excited to talk about this next sponsor, and this is Hamilton Devices. HamiltonDevices.com. Go ahead and check out the website. And I got to be honest, guys, even if this wasn't a sponsor and you showed me this stuff, I would lose my mind. See this right here? This is called the Jetstream. You could put 3 different flavor pens in here. This is not like a regular battery. This is called the KR1. This is a concentrate and cartridge bubbler. You put water in this piece to hit your cart. And this next thing right here is called the butterfly. The second I saw this, I lost my mind. It's like a butterfly knife, but it has your pen in it. This is a battery. Remember, go to HamiltonDevices.com to check out everything. There's countless items. So if you want to step up your battery life and your battery game, go to hamiltondevices.com and go check out the site. Also, go ahead and check out Hamilton Devices on Instagram and let them know the Dope as Usual podcast sent you, or you saw it here. This thing is incredible. Hey, what's up, guys? Want to introduce one of our brand new sponsors. This is Bored Hash, 100% fresh frozen live resin. This right here is Fruity Pebbles. This here is Mochi, and a classic strain coming in strong. This is GG4. I actually know the manufacturers behind this, and this is out of his brand new facility. I'm super stoked, super happy to have them as a sponsor. I'm gonna be honest, I think the packaging and the die cut is pretty awesome. You got the little stoned bored ape on the front, whole plant fresh frozen. Remember that 100% live resin fresh frozen. Let's bust these open. And as you can see, it's the same little logo cut out as the gummy. So it has all the flavors on it. Remember, 10 milligrams a piece. There's grape, strawberry, orange, lemon, and blue raspberry. 100% vegan and gluten-free. That's Bored Hash on Instagram. Go ahead and give them a follow. Let them know you saw them on the Dope as Usual podcast. They're coming to the legal market. Super stoked. The little pods. I like these shapes right here. They're like a hash rosin looking pods. These are awesome. Like I said, 100% live resin, guys. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Back to the episode. Wow, who would have thought? I honestly, I can't believe. I thought you were joking when you said we're all in the clergy. Like, are you serious?
No, there was, we weren't the only ones. Some of the other cousins too were like,
And that's just a family.
It was a family thing. You went to Catholic. We all went to Catholic school, and that stuff is just hammered into day one. Pray for a vocation. Pray for a vocation. What's a vocation? I'll pray for it. Stop hitting me.
Pray for a vocation.
Oh man, could you imagine? All right, sorry, that's such a left turn.
Yeah.
Just different worlds of movies after that. No, I don't think anybody would have took up that space. No, right? I can't. I mean, I just can't see it if you guys did it.
Yeah.
And people try to imitate. Nobody tried to imitate that. Nobody even attempted to imitate that.
You couldn't, because it was such an unlikely source. A Chicano and a half Chinaman are the countercultural representatives. Nah, that's not it. But actually that was.
Yeah, they met in Canada.
We represented that, in Canada. Yeah, so it's like, because the first thing Tommy and I thought, the first time we saw each other, met each other for the first time, we're both thinking the same thought. What are you? What are you? Are you a Mongolian biker kind of deal? I don't know.
Oh,
and he was thinking the same thing. What is it? Left Filipino or didn't know.
And you were in Canada because you were dodging the draft, apparently?
That was half of it.
Right.
The other half.
I agree with you. I would have left too. So.
Yeah. The other half was that I was a potter, a professional potter. My last semester in college, I took a pottery class because I just had these other classes to fill out my card, and the ones you've been putting off for 4 years, Econ 101, and so I was going to take all these classes, and I was standing in line to get these classes, and there was a girl who I knew from high school, and she was next to me. She said, what are you taking? I said, I don't know, I'm looking for something. She said, well, I'm going to take pottery. Take it with me. I said, oh, yeah, okay. What the hell? So went and took the pottery class. And the first time I got my hands on clay and centered a piece of clay,
hooked.
That was it. That was it, man. I quit all my other classes. I quit my job. I got a $900 NADA, and all I did was pottery. It was like my Mexican genes came bumping out, and that's all I did. I was going to be a potter, and I was on my way to Canada to be assistant eventually for this very famous potter, Ed Hanchuk. And he had won the Bicentennial Exhibition Award. The year I got there, which was a big deal, and I was his assistant in the foothills of the Rockies in Canada, in the Canadian Rockies. So that's why I went there. But at the same time, when my last semester in college, I was a member of the draft resistance movement under David Harris, and so we were causing all kinds of shit. We were a lot of protests in the draft board and burning and so General Hershey, who was the director of the draft at the time, said anybody did any of those things that we all did, we were going to be immediately reclassified. I was a student, reclassified, drafted, and sent to the front lines of Vietnam, and that was his fix. That actually happened, man. I don't know, no bullshit. And so I was still 2S. I was a student, but it was gonna when it got changed to 1A. I was still in school. And this opportunity to go to Canada to be a potter came up at the same time. So I says, well, I'm gonna wait for these guys to make a decision in Canada, not in Leavenworth, in Canada. And so that's what I did. And I lived in Canada for the next little over 3 years. And that's where I met Tommy in Vancouver. I eventually made it to Vancouver.
What an unlikely situation.
You never know. I was happy. It was the happiest time of my life. I lived alone by myself in a little cabin on a river, and went to the river every day for my water, and chopped wood and coal, and shot bears and shit, man.
What?
I'm not shitting, man. It was because the guy who I worked for, Ed, he was a very avid hunter. He's Ukrainian. And he was just out in the woods, and he was a really great potter, but he was a hunter, and we hunted everything that was within rifle distance from our house. Right? Yeah.
Where's that movie?
That
was so interesting.
We pitched it a couple of times, and everybody was going for it.
Okay.
Yeah, we just never made it.
Wow.
Yeah, but I moved. Here's under the it's supposed to happen. When I went to Canada, I moved to exactly the place where Tommy was raised in Canada, in Calgary, to the exact same neighborhood, and I started hearing these stories about this guy, Tommy Chong, who had written this famous R&B song, Does Your Mama Know About Me? And blah, he was a great musician. From there, everybody knew him from that. And then he went to Vancouver. And that's where I met him, in Vancouver.
And then I've heard the story. You met at a topless bar. You were performing theater.
Yeah, it was his family's bar.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Tommy always started nightclubs so that he would have some place for his band to play. He was always in bands. He was in a band since he was a little kid. Play R&B, blues, blah blah blah, and so he always had nightclubs. And so when his band got discovered by Motown and got signed to Motown, he went on the road, and he left the club that he was currently doing in the care of his parents, who immediately turned it into a topless bar. And so when he came back off the road, this is a topless bar now. And in the meantime, he had seen improvisational theater when he was on the road. He'd seen Second City in Chicago, the Committee in San Francisco, and a couple other places. And when he got back to Vancouver, he says, I want to do improv theater. I'm done with being a musician right now, and I'm going to do improv theater, but here in this club. So we're gonna keep the topless element because that keeps everybody coming in, but we're gonna do integrate improv theater in that. And the girl said, okay. You're not a stripper anymore, you're actress. Okay.
Oh, I thought you meant like in between. Like,
No, man. Presto, you're an actress. Okay. I swear to God, that's what happened. And so it was starting to go, and a mime artist. And this was the fucking toughest bar in town. I mean, it's Chinatown, Vancouver, Main and Pender, still to this day, Junkieville, Winoville, tough place, And so we changed the show on the audience. The audience didn't change. It was still bikers and longshoremen and guys coming out of the woods. Hadn't seen a girl in 3 years, And we sent out the first girl was a mime artist, They looked at it. What the fuck? And then these girls. And then we sent the girls. I guess I wasn't there at the beginning, and they would do little skits, fully dressed, in their street clothes. Because Tommy said when the girls came to work, they'd always look hot in their street clothes, man, a little bell bottoms, low rise, and when they had their stripper costumes on, they looked less sexy, So they would do some skit in which during the skit they would start to take off their clothes. And before, when the guys weren't even looking at it, and then they come out and dance, they had a band and they dance, and every once in a while they glance up, but at this they were glued. They were glued to the stage, man. It's like watching these girls slowly take off their clothes. It was this whole other experience, man. And there's some music going on, and then there was other actors coming in, guys coming out, long-haired guys talking to them while these girls are taking off their clothes, and they didn't know what to do. they didn't know whether to get mad or get hard, So it was this interesting combination. And then I met Tommy. I was introduced to him by some of the guys, and I started writing for the group. He hired me as a writer because I told him I was this great improv actor from L.A. and I gave him this whole fucking line of credits. It was total bullshit, but he bought it, and so I started writing for the group. And I wrote him a couple skits. They did right away. Okay, cool. And so then I was watching the show, and I would do all these parts when somebody could make them. Then the troupe fell apart because all them people wanted to go to the hills to get their heads together. I had been to the hills. My head was together. My pocketbook wasn't together. So Tommy and I stayed together and formed this duo.
What an unlikely situation.
My whole life is unlikely, dude. I mean, it's really who would have thought?
No, not you. 11, getting ready to go pray for your whole life.
Yeah,
you'd be in a topless bar as a potter.
Yeah,
and killing bears, and then was like, I'm an actor now.
We shot a bear right in front of the studio. I didn't shoot him. Dad did, man. Right in front of the studio. I'd been working all day, making stuff, and he'd been throwing all day. And he went out to take a stretch, and he comes running in, and he closes the door and locks the door, and it's like a big studio with floor to ceiling windows, and I'm looking out over there, and he starts, Ethel, his wife, Ethel, where's my gun? Where's my gun? And he finally finds it, and his rifle's under the thing, and he starts popping bullets in it, and they're popping out, and he's running across the studio, and here comes his bear, man. He's running towards the studio, man, and I'm sitting there wedging clay, and he opens the door thing and pops it right in front of the studio, man, and
as you're potty,
and the bear is still twitching away, and steam coming off it, man. And it says, okay, I'll grab that back foot and come on. We got to drag it down into the ravine. What? Drag what? No, man. The bear's still twitching, and it said, oh, we got to pull it out, skin it, because we just grab that thing. We got to. Grabbed this bear down into a ravine, and then he had some rope and we strung it up between two trees with the thing and hoisted it up. And he says, okay, the first cut goes right here. And I'm sitting there, I'm right from Hollywood and Vine, dude, man. I'd never shot a gun or been outside of my door, okay. Yeah, I guess this is the wilderness, man. I could, be on naked and alone, or whatever. Alone and afraid, man.
It's crazy how life is. You could be eating at like Nick's Burgers in East LA, or get eaten by a bear a couple months later.
I've often thought of that very same thing. A couple different turns in your life or opportunities present themselves differently, or don't present themselves. Your life is totally different.
Or make your opportunity by saying you're the improv guy from LA.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need that little.
It's all being centered and trusting your intuition. And the more you do things to hone your intuition, the better your choices will be. And if that's some discipline that you do, I've meditated since I was 19.
Really, daily?
Daily.
Wow. And right when you wake up, I'm assuming.
A little after.
Yeah.
Wake up and, where am I? And meditate. And then in the evening, too, before you start your evening activities. And I've done Tai Chi for many, many years. And it centers you. throwing clay is a centering technique. Once you feel that center, when you get a clay right on center, it's like that. It feels like that.
Almost like a frequency of some type.
And it's just, your whole body gets centered.
Do you still do pottery?
No, it's I can't stand centering anymore, and so no, it's a process. You know, there are a lot of stages, and you have to be there.
Oh, it's just too much.
And I'm always traveling. I love doing it when I did it.
You made it sound awesome.
I know, it sounds so fun, right?
Pottery right now.
I live by a river, and I grab my water from the bike. Sounds so organic.
Yeah,
right?
I'll tell you how organic. So I had no contact with nature whatsoever, you know, on the trees and the thing.
Oh, sorry. Could you move the mic just a little closer? It's starting to cut out.
Okay. How's it now?
We can move it too if you want.
No.
Okay.
So anyways, when I got there at this place where I made the pottery at Bragg Creek, Alberta, and it was during the summer, and so the guys at the trading store, they had made this bridge that went across the river, and it was on car tires, and they pushed it out in the river during the summer, and you could walk over the river and blah blah blah. In the winter you couldn't. So I had to go to the river for my water every day, and so I had this little wagon with I guess it was a 25-gallon drum, you know, and I have to go in there and fill the drum by hand and put it in the thing, take it back. I said, man, this is bullshit. It's taking forever. I got this bright idea. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take the canister to the bridge and then hang it over the bridge and just pull it, and it'll fill up that way. And pick it up. Okay, sounds like a great idea. I get there, boom, get on the bridge, lower it. As soon as it hit the water, pulled me off the bridge, and I'm gone, man. And this water is cold like you wouldn't believe, like heart-stopping cold, like and fast. And I'm gone. I'm fully clothed, cowboy boots on, and todo, man. I'm gone. I thought, and you can't catch your breath. You're like. Mm-hmm. And so this is it, you know. This is it. I'm going to go.
It's going to be a priest.
And I waited till we got down the river. We got down the river a little bit, and it widened, so the current wasn't swift. And I made a break for the shore, man, as hard as I could swim, and I made it to the thing. And like, wow. Welcome to nature. Haba haba. Nature's fast and cold. Wow.
That sounds horrifying.
Oh, where is this movie? I see all of these things. I see, and all I see is a red beanie and a guy in nature. That's what I'm seeing in my head.
It was literally that, man. I had no experience, you know, with the people that grow up in the cold take for granted, you know. So, I don't know. I don't know, buddy.
Oh man. All right. Well, that was. I feel like I just watched a movie.
It's like Homeward Bound type shit.
I just watched a movie.
Yeah.
So I want to get into your art.
Well,
Your art. You're the Cheech Marin Chicano Art Museum, correct?
Yeah.
In Riverside.
Yeah, Riverside. Yeah.
When did you start that, and how does it feel to have your name on the side of a building?
It's cool. Every time I go by that, it's cool. Yeah. And it goes on. Boom. No, it lights up. Cool. It's the end of a long journey, you know, and the beginning of another new journey. But I was interested in art from a very early age. Those cousins I was telling you about, the one that went on to be Harvard, and the other one in London, we were all part of this group, this little group, and the head cousin Louis, brilliant guy, and he assigned us all topics to learn about and bring back to the group. And I got art. And he said, Cheech, you go learn about art and bring it back, what you know, and show to everybody. Okay, so I was maybe 10.
Oh.
10, yeah. And so I went to the library and started taking all the art, looking at pictures. Okay, that's Picasso, and that's Michelangelo. So I was, you know, educated in art from a very early age. And so I started going to museums at the same time. Because to really enjoy paintings, you have to go to museums. You have to see them live. You know, so I won't get into it, but you should. But so I was interested, and then when I got enough money, I started buying art, And at some point, I discovered these Chicano painters. They had already been discovered, but
you for yourself, you discovered them.
Yeah, exactly. And I started collecting their work. And I knew what they were doing because I was educated in art, and I see the basis on which they were building and their Mexican heritage, coming together with all kinds of other influences, because they all went to either prestigious art schools or universities. I mean, they were all really educated in art, and I could see that in what they were doing. So started doing that, but I was always an inveterate collector of something all my life. Baseball cards, marbles, buttons, matchbook covers.
Marbles and baseball cards are the first things I ever collected in my life.
Yeah, baseball cards was great. And you learn a lot about collecting. You learn how to organize things, put them in file.
And care.
What is good, what is bad, so all that stuff. And so when I got to the Chicanos, I knew a lot about collecting. And I traveled. That's the key.
So you're seeing things from all over the world.
Yeah, all over, and all over the U.S. And the same thing I collected Art Nouveau for a long time, but I traveled, so you could pick up pieces all over. And then, and I was that guy with a lamp on his lap in an airplane,
bringing something home. Yeah. I don't feel as bad now. I buy so much art. It's a problem.
Yeah, well,
and it's a problem, but. See, you've been doing it your whole life. I don't feel as bad. I've been doing it since I was a kid. I just like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I took art history for like 6 years in school.
Did you?
It's just something. Yeah, just something I like. I don't know. I just can't draw though.
Yeah, neither can I.
I can't draw at all. So I was like, I appreciate people that can at least.
Have you ever seen Rob the Original on Instagram? He's a Mexican artist.
No.
Oh, he's amazing.
He makes art out of literally. I mean, he'll make it out of broken glass, or like he'll shave it in hair.
Yeah.
He can make art
incredible.
out of anything. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
He's great. You should check him out. You should check him out.
Yeah, that's what's his name? Rob.
Rob the Original on Instagram.
All right,
Yeah,
Rob.
every medium basically. He can just create something.
This is, that's art is what makes us keep going forward. The unattainable, that it's really attainable. So it's.
Is there any piece that you have that's like your favorite or really stands out?
It's like picking your favorite kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
The one that's bugging you the least.
So with your museum, anybody can just go.
Yeah.
Okay, it's in Riverside, and you can just go and just view the art. It's like an actual art museum that has your name on it, which is insane.
Yeah, which is insane.
Wow.
It's that again, it's a matter of trusting your instincts, because I'd been doing this for a long time. I was close to 50 years. And the collection is played in over 50 museums as just a collection, from the Smithsonian to every place.
Did you curate the whole thing?
No, I have a curator.
Okay.
It's a long process. But, and museums are highly political institutions, highly. And because they represent the official imprimatur of cultural acceptance. If it's in a museum, you got to trust it. Here's what the history is leading to this point. And so they're very, everybody's got an opinion about where that point is, and funds from the community are usually involved, or private funds or whatever. So it's all that. So you get to the end of collecting, or you think you got to it, and what do I do with this thing? I mean, you can't keep it all under the bed anymore in the closet, or give it to your sister or whatever. So I was at that point, and we had done a show at the Riverside Art Museum from the collection, Works on Paper, and we showed it there, and it was a big hit, huge hit, biggest hit attendance-wise they'd ever had. So they had a building they had to repurpose. It was the town library, and it's a beautiful modernist building. I mean, it's beautiful, modernist. And they had to do something else with it, or else knock it down and build something else. And the town manager noticed the fact that we had this huge show there, found out about the rest of the collection, and he proposed that they give me the museum in exchange for the collection.
Wow.
And at first I didn't understand, why you want me to buy a museum? I'm doing okay. I don't know if I'm museum rich, man. I don't make money in my sleep, But no. We want to give you the museum, not you personally, but a space we will dedicate for the collection. That's the only thing we'll play in there is that collection. And you have to decide fairly quickly because they'll move on to somebody else or knock the building down. That means giving them the collection. Once you give it to them, it's theirs. Yeah. You know?
Oh, they keep it. It's not like a licensing thing.
It's a gift to them.
Oh, wow.
And so I had to make that decision right then, and I decided that the best use of the collection was that. Everybody got to see it, you know? And so anytime I wanted to go visit the collection, I could. It's right down there.
Gotcha.
I mean, I kept a small portion for my family, you know, but usually smaller things that I like to have around me, you know. But I think it was 550 pieces. I went to there, but the joy and the access the community has to that now is you couldn't buy that.
No, you can't.
You couldn't buy that, you know.
It's selflessness, and at the same time, it's like Whoopi Goldberg, and she's giving the check in Ghost. She almost doesn't let it go. That's how I would be with all my paintings. Like, all right, you can have it.
You know, you saw that the biggest, the most good was going to be to do that.
Of course.
And, you know, and it's like, I am fully gratified at the reaction has gone, and we've just been the first year we were open. We've been open a year now. During that year, we were judged one of the 50 top shows in the world that year. A museum only been open 6 months.
Wow,
it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And as an artist, not even all these other things, you know, it's Cheech and Chong, you're doing Born in East LA, you're doing everything. It's an art thing that you've been having since before you even knew you were gonna be an actor.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a lifelong summary of like, this is what I've been collecting in my existence here.
Yeah.
All right, I can see why you gave it to him now.
Yeah, you know, because I had that experience because when you show it in 50 museums, you go to a lot of museums, and that's unheard of for a private collection because they don't want to do that. Museums do not want to do that because, and I understand why, because you usurp their curatorial power. Their curatorial power lies in being able to say what shows go in there and how it's arranged and blah, 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 and what pieces do go in, what pieces don't go in, and blah, 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 blah. You know, they don't want to do that. And I understand because their fear is that you're going to use their museum to raise the visage of your collection and then sell it for more. I've never done that. I've never sold a piece ever. And it wasn't my intention to do that. And once they get over that, okay, there's a certain amount of trust from them, you know, because none of these guys wanted to put their head in the block when we first, the museum directors, and say, this is officially Chicano art.
Ooh, because in case somebody else comes and trumps that card, well, now you look like you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and for a director to give the okay to, all right, bring the show in, this is it, is putting his head in the block, man.
Yeah.
And that blade might come down real quick because they're highly political institutions. Luckily, it didn't, you know. And then we started, once the first museum, everything went well, you know. Wow. But there was a lot of feedback, you know. I mean, at the beginning, not from the sources that you would expect, from the Chicano intellectual community, the professors at the universities, and we like you as a comedian, but who are you to come in and say what's up with Chicano art? Seriously, I have unpaid student loans. You know, so how are we going to do that? And so that was that, you know, and Chicano art should only be political art, you know, and that's what. So we opened the show in San Antonio at the museum there. And there was a lot of feedback. And so, all right, anybody's got anything to say tomorrow morning, Saturday morning. I made it at 9:30 in order to weed out a bunch of people. Yeah. These guys ain't going to make it at 9:30. Yeah. And so I said, 9:30, anybody has got anything to say about pro or con? And that's the time, and everybody. So he opened up, and then I was on the dais, and a couple other artists, John Valadez from L.A. and Linda Vallejo, and the boards of the museum, and all the audience. Divided into veteranos and young kids that want their art seen, and then the debate raged back and forth and blah blah blah, and as soon as the kind of veteranos in the audience saw that they were losing, they kind of went back. And so at the end, this one elderly lady who looked like she'd seen everything Chicano in San Antonio got up. I have one question for John Valadez. Okay, and John kind of woke up, and I said, he says, after everything you've heard here going back and forth, do you still consider yourself a Chicano painter? And he looked up to the heavens and he says, only if it bothers you. My hero.
Stop the heckler instantly.
Yeah, basta. And that is kind of the essence of Chicano art. It's defiant. It's defiant in the face of political correctness sometimes. So
it's so open for interpretation, like you're saying, the chopping block.
Yeah,
it's just everything is an opinion. Art's an opinion.
It is an opinion.
People might say this looks like a kid doing it. I think it looks cool.
Yeah,
it's everything is open. Yeah. So I can see how that. Wow, you got into a whole different world of having to be like, I'm not just a comedian. I'm a human. I've been doing
it was unfortunate. Actually, my image worked against me in trying to gain validity in this world, and that in the art world. They look at you, but then again, they like the comedian part, so they were ready to give me a kind of cool buzz. And then when they start opening the crates, that's when it changed.
Oh my God, the wooden crates you sent your stuff in, like the movies. Yeah. How does that feel? You know what I mean? It's like Jurassic Park. I really am that dude.
The first show we did was at the San Antonio Museum, and I was in the loading dock when they brought the crates in, and they were still suspicious, man, that I was pulling some kind of scam, and they brought the crates in, they started unloading them and opening them, and that's when it changed. I mean, and they started taking the paintings out, and they started looking at them, and then I saw a couple of people would disappear from the room, and then they didn't like them. Okay, well, fuck you, and then they would come back, and they had more people with them. They've been going on, and then this happened again. More paintings. A couple other people would disappear, and they come back with a pigment. So all of a sudden, it's like, okay, this is no bullshit, So this is the real shit. And so it changed. And so then after that, it became easier. Then we got the Smithsonian. That was the next museum. Wow. And then after that,
the most valid thing ever.
The Young at San Francisco, the Weissman and Minneapolis. They're all big museums, so
100% now credible after they open those crates.
Now you see me. Now you do still see me.
So what is that? You're technically is that like an art director? Is that the name for somebody who owns pieces and places them like that? Just a collector? Okay.
Yeah. Just a humble collector in the woods. Like I was a humble potter in the woods.
Just a bear attack survivor.
Bear attack survivor. I love that, Marty. I'm just getting out of the draft here. That's crazy that's what they did. Like, you guys want to have a Defiant Club? You're going first.
Yeah.
That's insane.
No, everybody go, sounds good to us, But no, everybody in my side of it knew there was a First Amendment issue would be undoubtedly overturned, we hope. And it was. And it went to I don't know what the circuit is here in California or in LA, but it went there and got thrown out. Get out of here. They sent me another notice for physical that same week. This is almost 3.5 years later.
You don't feel safe anywhere out there.
Man, it's like, what?
Oh, hell no. I'm writing jokes for these guys on stage.
So, when I was in Canada, I was living in Banff. I lived there for about a year. And I had broken my leg skiing severely. A compound fracture, 7,
Oh.
And so I go, that's it. So I used my last $40 in the world, sent from my x-rays from the hospital in Banff. They sent them back down, went to the physical with my little folder with x-rays under my arm, and I'm standing in a big room with all these guys in their underwear, and we're sitting around waiting, and the door opens up, and here comes a doctor out of this door, and he's smoking. Yeah. Came out for a smoke break with a stethoscope around his head. And he sees me across the room, he says, "Hey, you, come here." And I walk over, he says, looks at my leg, and says, "Those your x-rays?" "Yeah." "Come in here." And so I come into his room, and he looks at the x-rays, and he says, "Well, I got bad news for you." "Huh? Really?" He says, "You're ineligible for the draft." Okay. Okay.
So sad.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm going to cry.
Lucked out again.
Lucky break.
Yep. Literally
lucky break, man. So
it's just the universe working with you at that point.
You know, you have to trust your instincts. Yep. Go to the thing. You'll pass it. You know, go to the thing. Because guys were doing everything they could
to get out.
Yeah, physically, they didn't do anything.
Some people probably broke their leg on purpose. Just to get what you know what I mean, while doing what you love. I was skiing.
That's why you get being a skier while being Chicano at the same time, man. That's what you get.
Honestly, when you said that, I thought you were like, really?
Those are your dues, man.
We know you have a heart out today.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask a question that I think a lot of people would ask. In Up in Smoke, when you guys roll that giant joint, right? Yeah. I rolled a little guy today. Were any of those joints real? Were you guys smoking on set ever? That's the one question I know everyone wants to know.
No, that's all stunt dope.
Stunt dope.
That sounds like a brand.
It does sound like a brand.
No.
So is it only on off cameras it's happening?
Well, Tommy smokes on camera, not on camera, no, because it's too long a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you work 18 hours a day, man. You're gonna sit around getting stoned all day. I ain't gonna work. You know?
That's true-ish, yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
You know, on tour, you're an hour a night.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, I get it.
That's it. You know, on movies.
Yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, we're gonna do your close up now. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of tour, do you have any crazy acid stories from the 70s?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're picking which one do I want to give?
What one can I actually say when the FCC won't close you down? There was one that we played. We played this rock festival at Bull Island, Indiana, and outside of Chicago. It was the big Midwest rock festival after Woodstock and Altamont, and it was right in that area. They were going to try one of these, and it was the early days. They had no idea how to pull this big a thing off, and so they wanted to get 100,000 people. They got 500,000 people.
Oh my God!
And you couldn't see the end of them, you know. And the first act was supposed to go on at noon. The first act went on at midnight. And so the first act was this all-girl band called Bertha, and it was an LA band, rock band, hard rock band, great players, great singers, and my favorite T-shirt, it says "Bertha has balls." I wore that all the time. Bertha has balls, and so at midnight. Finally, the festival goes on, and there's literally 500,000 people. You couldn't physically see the end of them. Your eyesight wouldn't go that far. And it was midnight, and they had timed their drugs for noon, you know.
People out asleep.
People, there was just and there was everybody in skins and totem poles and hopping up and down on 1 2 legs. And so anyways, okay, and that was Bertha. Thank you very much. And now, so as soon as Bertha gets off the stage, a cloudburst of biblical proportions opened up on these poor people, man. As hard as I've ever seen it rain in my life. And bam! And they're all in skins and stuff, with babies on their breasts. I'm not kidding. And we looked at, and the stage was really high, so you could really look down on the, not literally, but down, and they were like, and it just rained. I mean, hard rain, and they was, and the promoters in their farsightedness had erected over the stage a parachute as like an awning to protect the bands from the sun when the thing was supposed to start at noon, but not at midnight. So as a result of this downpour, there was a swimming pool over our heads, and I was hoping that this parachute was going to hold, because we had to walk out under it. And those were the
most dangerous work environment ever.
And there was puddles all over the stage, man. And they didn't have no wireless mics in those days. You had to go up and grab the thing.
Might get shocked.
And so, but how are you going to communicate to 500,000 people? There's no screens. There's no nothing, man. There's just, where's that voice? There's voices coming from. I think they're out there.
Wow. I couldn't even imagine.
And now, here, let's have for Cheech and Chong. And there was a steady drip coming off the end of the parachute. So it was like a waterfall, like they were playing in Trader Vic's or something. I'm not kidding. And so we just, it was absurd. It was an absurd situation. So I started doing coin tricks, disappearing coin tricks. Hey, where'd it go? I don't know.
On stage?
On stage, yeah.
The biggest magician crowd has ever had.
And I'm walking them through it. I'm telling them, I'm walking over to this side of the stage now. Okay, follow my voice.
Because there's that big.
There's that big.
That doesn't happen anymore.
That doesn't happen.
What would happen again?
Yeah.
That crowds.
And
like
then
that.
we did
Crazy.
anything we could do just visually that you didn't need any words for. We did anything that, it was cool.
All on acid.
Well, not us, but I'm sure all them people's was.
Okay, that's what I thought we were leading it to. Wow, that is awesome. What year was that?
In the past.
In the past. That's the best answer I think anybody can give. When
Way
was
back
this?
there.
In the past.
In the past, it's like, that's it. I don't know. Early 70s?
It's before even movies even came. It was just all records at this point.
We had just had our first record. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now I understand what you're saying. You're playing live in front of these 500,000 crowds. Come on.
Yeah.
Somebody out there.
Come on. Wake up here. We're doing nominated here. Wake up. I can't believe it. I just, and they know that we want to be.
You will then.
Yeah.
Put it out in the
Tommy
universe.
was there at the beginning of rock and roll, man, when blues and stuff turned into rock and roll. He was right there and playing in bands, so with Bo Diddley and Chuck Berry and Little Richard.
That's the last check mark you need, I think, before in the arts world.
Yeah.
You don't need it, but a little thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little.
I made my first record when I was 5 years old. My first record. I was this little kid that could sing in tune, squeaky little voice, but I could sing Mexican songs in tune. And so my mother had this friend who had this little record company that sold records in the neighborhood. And so he recorded me. Amorcito corazón, no tengo tentación. And he was a guitar player and he played behind me. But at 5 years old, I said, and at that point, kind of like, maybe showbiz,
Yeah, at 5.
That's where I'm going. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I know we have you got to get you out here, but I think we could go for days here. Honestly.
This is so legendary. Thank
fun.
you for this.
Thank
this
you.
Feels so right.
Today was great. And for everyone out there,
pleasure.
the next stuff coming out is the Chicheladas.
Chichelada, at the Woods on Friday between 2 and 5.
Also, anywhere you go to dispensaries, even in legal states, any legal state, look for Cheech's Stash brand.
Cheech's Stash or Cheech and Chong. Now, we're amalgamated now for the first time. We're together. We have a Cheech and Chong brands, Cheech brand and a Chong brand, specialty products on either.
On all sides.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's doing well. I mean, the thing is about celebrity brands in this field, you just got to be able to hang in there.
Yeah.
Stay alive, stay afloat, till they get more, legal national passage of it. Then it'll really, really change. But stay afloat. As you're going down the river fast as it be.
Almost dying.
That was the shock of my life, man. You're going too, man.
Well, thank you. This was fun. This was great. This was everything. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Marty, anything else before we get out of here?
No, I just really appreciate it. I know the fans are so excited. This was just something that had to happen for us. One of our top episodes. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
We appreciate you.
Okay.
So for everybody, this is Marty, Cheech Marin, and I. Have a dope ass day. Yeah. That was very fun. That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Perfect.